Here comes everyone. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today for Trey Jones's media availability. If you have any questions, raise your hand using that function, or you can send a message to the chat if you don't have the raise hand function. We'll get started. Rick Bonnell, you're first.
Hey Trey, how you doing? Could you? I understand that you spent some time with your older brother in Memphis before the bubble started. I was just kind of curious, as somebody with an older brother who's already part of the league, what sort of advantage, opportunity, getting ready for the draft, whatever value you might see in that?
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously the first his first 3 years in Minnesota, I was actually still in high school there. So, I mean, you talk about advantage. I was able to go to almost all his home games in person and watch that level of basketball in person. I was able to see what was working for him, what helped him get on the floor at a young age early in his career. I was seeing what things he needed to work on and what areas he needed to improve on to make sure that he's stuck in the league like he has now. So obviously just early in his career, I was able to see everything in person, and I think that really helped me get an advantage just because I see kind of, I mean, it could be how NBA, how the offenses are ran in the NBA, how the spacing is, how the calling is different from refs, how, I mean, there's so many different things in the NBA compared to the other levels of basketball that I feel like I picked up on throughout those years in my high school career while I was able to watch my brother in his first few years in the NBA.
Quick follow. You were perceived before last season as your primary strength being defensive. It seems like you broadened the spectrum of your game in that regard. Could you talk a little about sort of what you bring at this point in terms of fully formed NBA player?
Right, yeah, for sure. I mean, to start off with, I think the thing I did my 2 years there at Duke was being a leader for our team. Obviously, that first year, like you said, I had a different role on the team. My role was definitely much more defensive-minded, making sure that we were locked in on the defensive end, trying to get us going to start off the game, setting the tone on the defensive end, and then making sure I was a facilitator on the offensive end, getting everyone involved, trying to get our guys the ball in the right position. So, I mean, obviously from year one to year two, it was a lot different. And year two, I was still a leader, still that leader for us, but it was different because I had a bigger role on the offensive end. In order for us to be successful, that's what coach had asked of me. And so obviously I still carried that same leadership responsibility on the defensive end, but I had a little bit more responsibility on the offensive end than that year two. And I mean, obviously it was something that I looked forward to. I knew that I came back to win a national championship, but I knew that I would have to have some more responsibility for us on the offensive end to be successful in year two. So, I mean, it was something where I was in the gym every day working, knowing that what I was working for and what I need to provide for my team in year two.
Thanks, Trey.
Thank you.
Ferdinand Rivera, ESPN Deportes, when you're ready.
Hey, Trey.
How you doing?
Doing great. From Puerto Rico. How did the Duke culture and Coach Mike impact your development as a player?
Right. So you mentioned the Duke culture. The brotherhood was what we call it, and it's. I mean, it impacted me greatly for sure. From day one that I stepped on campus, I mean, you feel welcome, you feel part of the brotherhood right away. But I mean, everyone is there for a reason, and everyone, I mean, busted their butt to be in that position to represent Duke basketball. And so, I mean, as soon as you get there, everyone's competing, each other every day. I mean, that's what makes you ultimately. It ultimately takes you to the next level and makes you a better player. But I mean, what Coach K gave me there, I mean, obviously there's a lot of things that he was able to provide for me. But I mean, one thing was for sure just his love for the game of basketball. I mean, it was year 40 for him at Duke. I mean, he had all the accomplishments. He had won countless national championships. I mean, he's won gold medals with USA. He's coached some of the greatest players to ever play our game. And each and every day, he still came in with the same passion for the game of basketball. He was always watching his film. He was always seeing where he could improve, where the team could improve. And so, I mean, there's just his love of the game of basketball is what, I mean, I took away from that. And I realized that if you really want to be great at this, you really got to be in love with the game of basketball.
Lastly, have you made any contact with Bucks, Raptors, or Lakers?
I actually had one interview with the Bucks, and that's it. No interviews with the other two as of now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wayne Rankin, when you're ready.
Yes, thanks. Trey, I just had a couple of things. And first, have you talked with the Phoenix Suns? And if so, how did that go?
Yes, I did have an interview with the Phoenix Suns. I felt like it went really well for sure. And looking forward to continue that process with them.
Okay, and just to follow that up, obviously, you being in Minnesota, watching your brothers, I admit you also saw Ricky Rubio play. So what was that like then, and what do you feel like some things, if you were to end up with the Suns, that you could pick up and learn from him?
Right. Obviously, like you said, being able to watch him while my brother was here in Minnesota, obviously was an advantage for me as well. I mean, he's been a starting point guard for how many years in the league now? And, I mean, he's been a starting point guard for teams that gone to the playoffs as well. And so, I mean, he's a really good point guard in this league. And I think my brother learned a lot from him. And obviously, if I was able to play behind him and learn from him as well, that would be great. But just the way he can pass obviously sticks out first. But him coming off of ball screens, using the ball screen, reading the defense, holding his dribble, making sure he's making the right plays. Obviously, his playmaking ability really sticks out the most for sure. Is the way he facilitates, gets everyone involved. But I also think that, I mean, the instincts he has on the defensive end. I mean, he's really crafty, obviously. I mean, one of those European guards, how they are. But, I mean, just the instincts that he has on the defensive end, he's always in the right lanes, getting steals, getting deflections, things like that. And so being able to learn from him would be amazing, really.
And then just to follow that up, lastly, what do you feel you can bring to an NBA team right away?
Right, for sure. I mean, right away, I think I'd be able to provide a leadership role on the team. I think I'd be able to provide defense for us, obviously. Like I've been saying, I like to bring it on the defensive end. And so picking up full court, bothering the other team's point guards, and being able to get after them, but also being able to, whether it's facilitate, whether it's score a little bit, but obviously getting my team involved and getting my team going on the offensive end. But I mean, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to compete. And at the end of the day, I want to win. So I'm going to do whatever the team asks me to do for us to win.
Thanks, Trey. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
James Eichenhofer, when you're ready.
Yep. Hey, Trey. I'm the writer for Pelicans.com. You might know what direction I'm going to go here with this. There's 5 Duke players on this roster here right now. I guess I was wondering, how much fun would it be for you to come to a team that has that many Duke guys? There's also a front office member in Trajan Langdon who's from Duke. And how well do you know? How many of the guys do you know pretty well that are playing here?
Right. So I actually know all of them. Obviously, I know all of them, but most of them I know really well. Obviously, they're JJ is the oldest one, but after that, they're all pretty young and they're around more my age. And so I've been able to one of them obviously I played with, but a couple others, I mean, they're in the same age. And so obviously that would be extremely fun to be able to connect with those guys and be able to play on the same team as them and hopefully be able to win games with those guys. And obviously having Trajan Langdon in the front office would be amazing. Just be a brotherhood connect down there. But being able to just play with those type of guys would be amazing. Like I said, I think it would be a good connection for sure.
Thank you.
Next question's from Rylan Stiles.
Hey, Trey, I was wondering if you've had any contact with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and if you have, how do you see yourself fitting in there?
Right. Yeah, I've had an interview with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Think it went really well as well. I feel like being able to learn from Chris Paul, there would be nothing like it, truly. Obviously, we all know what type of player he is still, but I mean, the career he's had as a point guard in this league and being one of, if not the top point guard year in and year out, and just the things he brings to the table. I mean, his leadership, obviously, his winning abilities, but I mean, his defense, he's on a number of all defensive teams. He's able to run offenses, run the team really. And I mean, I think what we saw this last year and what he did with Oklahoma City Thunder when no one expected it really, just really sticks out to me. So I think being able to be a part of that organization, being able to learn from one of the all-time great point guards that we've seen in our time would definitely be a huge advantage and something that I'd really love to do.
Rob Schaefer, when you're ready.
Hey, Trey. Thanks for doing this. It was reported a couple weeks ago that you had done a virtual interview with the Bulls. I was wondering if you could confirm the truth to that, and if so, kind of what your impressions of the organization were, and what kind of fit you might envision for yourself with Chicago.
So at the time, they actually still didn't have a coach, and so it had to be postponed. And so I think that interview is still coming up, but obviously they got Coach Billy Donovan there now, and he's had a successful run in the NBA for a few years now. And so obviously I think they're definitely heading in the right direction, and they got some young guys in there that I think can really hoop. And so I definitely think they're heading in the right direction, and I'd love to have an interview with them.
And a follow-up, another Duke-related question. Wendell Carter Jr. obviously being a key piece of that core there. He's talked a lot about wanting to be a resource for people going through the pre-draft process, especially in kind of an unprecedented year. Obviously, you guys didn't cross paths at Duke playing-wise, but I'm wondering if you have a relationship with Wendell, if you've talked to him at all throughout the pre-draft process, and kind of what the relationship is there.
Right, for sure. So me and Wendell actually played on the same USA team, my 15 and his 16 in under a year. And so obviously we have that relationship already. I'm guessing that if I did have questions, I would be able to reach out to him. He's always been someone like that you can reach out to him, and he's easy to talk to, and he also gives good advice. But I haven't had any questions necessarily that I'd need him to answer, but for sure, if that's the case, I think he's someone for sure. I mean, you know how Duke guys are; they always stay together. But I mean, he would definitely be someone that I feel like I could reach out to.
Appreciate your time. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Alexander Berthaud, when you're ready. Alexander?
Sorry. Yeah.
No problem.
Sorry, I'm here. Hi, Trey. How do you prepare yourself to not have the ball in your hands as much as you did at Duke? Because for your rookie year, it's probably going to be the case. You will probably be on secondary ball handling duties.
Right. Yeah. Like you said, I mean, at my time at Duke, obviously year 1 to year 2 is different. So this past year, I might have the ball in my hands a lot more, but year 1, it was just me trying to facilitate for our team, me trying to set up the offense for our team, me trying to get our guys in the right position to score and be successful. And so, I mean, I just want to do whatever I can to help our team be successful, and whatever they ask me to do to be successful. And so if that's just making sure that I'm locking up on the defensive end and I'm getting our guys in the right spots on the offensive end and giving the ball up, I'll be ready for that, and I'll be ready for to play off the ball a little bit more and making sure that my catch and shoot 3 and the consistency of my jump shot will be there.
Yeah, about that catch and shoot 3, do you plan on maybe change your mechanics, or do you feel comfortable with the one you have right now?
Yeah, I feel comfortable. I felt like this past year I made a huge jump in my three-point shooting abilities. Obviously, my percentages speaks for itself, but I definitely feel like, I mean, obviously I've been working extremely hard on my jump shot ever since the season ended, and feel like I've made huge gains so far. But, I mean, there's definitely little stuff that I had to clean up in my mechanics. Obviously, making sure I have a better base, better balance, just keeping things more consistent from jump shot to jump shot. But I mean, at the end of the day, I know that that's going to be something I have to be able to do in the league to be able to make it. So making sure that I'm working on that every single day and making sure that that's something that I can rely on.
Alex Kennedy, when you're ready.
Hey, Trey, appreciate you doing this. This process is so different. It's very unique. Obviously, everything virtual over Zoom. A few players have talked about how they hired their agent over Zoom and did that whole process. Financial advisor, same way. What's it been like going through a year, where everything's virtual and you kind of had to adjust and not have a typical draft process?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what it's like to go through a normal draft process. So I can't compare it really, but I mean, from what I imagine, it's probably really weird. Obviously, there's no workouts. Obviously, there's no in-person meetings. I've heard the team meetings in person are a little intimidating a little bit. You walk in, everyone's staring at you and stuff. So obviously, you don't have to go through those little things. But I mean, I've enjoyed it so far. This is something that, I mean, I've been looking forward to my entire life, being able to go through this process. And so even though it's a little bit different, I mean, I've really enjoyed it. I mean, I know the mornings that I wake up and I have a team interview that day, I'm feeling the butterflies in my stomach. I'm super excited for the team interviews to be able to show who I am to those teams and let them kind of get an understanding of who I am a little bit over Zoom. But I mean, I've been enjoying the process as much as I can because, I mean, you really only get to go through this once. So it's been a lot of fun so far, and hopefully it continues to stay fun.
For sure. And one more thing real quick, with how hard you've worked and the confidence you have in yourself, is it frustrating when you hear some people describe this draft class as a weaker class or things like that? Or, what's your response to those people?
Right. I mean, it doesn't really bother me at all. I mean, things are said every year about the draft class coming in, and it's not really about what they say, it's about what you do. So you just gotta keep working and just know that it doesn't really matter what they're saying out there. You just gotta make sure that you're ready when your name is called and you're ready to make an impact on an organization.
Thanks, Trey. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Alex.
Adam Teich, when you're ready.
Hey, Trey, couple quick questions. First off, have you been in contact with the Warriors at all? And if so, what kind of vibe were you getting from them?
Right. So as of now, I have not been in contact with them. I haven't done a team interview with them yet.
All right. And then concerning the point guard depth in this year's draft, obviously there are a ton of lead guards that are kind of jockeying for draft position. And so what I'd love to get a sense of is what you think sets yourself apart from all of them.
Right, for sure. I think to start off with is just my leadership. I'm a leader, whether it's offensively, defensively, on the court, off the court, whatever it is. I'm a leader. I'm going to be a leader for our team. But for sure on the defensive end, I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to set the tone for our team. I'm going to get after it on the defensive end. I'm going to compete every single day, whether it's practice, whether it's shooting workouts, whether it's individual workout, games, obviously. No matter what it is, I'm going to compete. I'm going to work extremely hard. I'm going to always be working hard on myself, on making sure that I'm ready for the moment, but also that I'm ready for what the team asks from me. And so we're always working hard, and then I'm a winner. I've been able to be on two of the teams these past 2 years that have won something. Obviously, the first year we didn't get what we really wanted and were set out for, but we were able to win the ACC tournament and other big games. But this past year, obviously, the season got cut short, but I felt like we were heading in the right direction at the end of the year.
Jace Frederick, when you're ready.
Hey, Trey. First off, have you had any communication with Minnesota?
What's up, Jace? As of now, I have had a team interview with them, and went really well.
And then second, there aren't a lot of great defensive point guards in the NBA. It's often a position that's really attacked in pick and rolls by opposing offenses. You have the potential to be that kind of player, I guess, defensively. What impact do you think a great defensive point guard can have just on the game as a whole?
Right, for sure. The impact a defensive point guard could have on the game is, I think, huge for the team. Like you said, in the game nowadays, you really see how teams attack with their point guard in those pick and roll situations. And so being able to disrupt that, being able to blow that up for your team and make that a problem for the other team, I think is going to be something huge that I'll be able to bring to an NBA team. And so hopefully I'm able to have that impact on an NBA team, and hopefully I'm able to bring that to the next level with me.
Thanks, Trey. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jace.
Next question is coming from Aaron Rose.
Hey, Trey. One team that does have two pretty good guards is the Raptors. I'm wondering if defensive guards, at least. I'm wondering if you've spoken to them, and if Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry are guys that you kind of look up to, at least as defensive stout guards.
Right. So I actually haven't heard from them or had a team interview with them as of now, but like you said, Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry are definitely two guys that I watch a lot of film on. Obviously, they do a lot of things well to be as successful as they've been and win a championship in the league already. And so, like you said, Lowry gets after. He's a bulldog on the defensive end, and he's definitely someone that I watch. But, I mean, VanVleet is the same way, different aspects of his game. But there's definitely areas of both their games that I would like to watch and try to pick little parts out and try to implement them in my game.
Have you sort of always been a guy who's been stout defensively going back to your high school days? Is that something you've prided yourself on?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, early on, obviously, when it's high school, and I mean, you usually think that you're the star player and whatnot. But I mean, early on in my high school career, I actually was the second or third option on our offense, and so I knew that I had to have an impact, huge impact somewhere else. And for me, it had always been defense. And so I knew that I was just a player that liked to play defense. I like to impact our team on defense, and it really affected us and the other team. So it's always something that I have prided myself on.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Next question from Kai Carlin, when you're ready.
Hey, what's going on, Trey? How are you?
Good. How you doing?
All right. Wanted to ask, have you talked to the 76ers at all? And what are your opinions on the organization? How do you feel? You feel like you fit next to Joel and Ben? If you have talked to them, just want to get your thoughts on that.
Right. So as of now, I have not talked with the 76ers. Obviously, they are right there, though. In the playoffs, they've been obviously this year was a little weird. They had injuries and whatnot, but I mean, last year they were right there. It was a tied ball game with 0 seconds left before that shot. But I mean, they're defensive minded for sure. They have really good defenders, starting with Ben leading them. But I mean, they're really good on the defensive end. Offensively, I feel like they're really good as well, working through one of, if not the best big in the NBA. And I feel like being able to add what I do on the defensive end, as well with my improved shooting and consistency shooting, being able to spread the floor on the offensive end, and also being able to play make, I'll be able to definitely have an impact there.
Thank you, Trey.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Ian Bagley, when you're ready.
Trey, thanks a lot for doing this. Have you had any contact with the Knicks or the Nets so far?
Right. I have not had an interview with either of them as of now.
And you referenced the brotherhood earlier with Duke players. One player here in New York is RJ Barrett, and you obviously played with him. What was RJ like as a teammate, and were you able to see any of his rookie year? And if so, what did you think?
Right. Yeah, RJ was one of my favorite teammates there at Duke. Obviously, when it came to games, that dude, he was always ready. He was a huge gamer, and so being able to run alongside with him during those games in my freshman year was so much fun. He was someone who always competed, who always wanted to win, and was always just trying to figure out how he could win. And I see that in him in the NBA. Obviously, there is going to be an adjustment period, but I feel like he's going to be a guy that figures out how he can get his team to win, and he's going to be really effective in that. And I feel like he's going to really start taking off and being able to help them win for sure.
Thanks, Trey. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Just got time for a couple more. Alder Almo, when you're ready. Alder, are you there?
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Trey.
How you doing?
Yeah. Since you haven't talked with Knicks organization yet, what's your impression on what they're doing right now with new coach, on Coach Thibodeau, and are you still in speaking terms with RJ on what's going on in his career and in New York?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, they are going through some changes right now with their coaching. With their coaches. So there will be some changes there, but I do stay in contact with RJ for sure. We stay in contact all the time. We've been talking, not really a lot throughout this process, but it's just one of those where you check in, make sure each other's good, ask how each other's doing, how each other's family's doing and everything. But I mean, he's always been someone that's always been in my corner, and he's always trying to help me in any way that he could help me, and I'm just wishing nothing but the best for me.
Thank you, Trey.
Thank you.
Dane Moore, when you're ready. Dane, are you there?
Hey, I'm here. Sorry, my bad. Trey, I think some of us on the media side, we kind of do this lazy thing where if somebody's got a brother in the league, we compare them to that player. And I get, obviously, you know Tyus's game as well as anyone. What do you see the differences to be to kind of – I don't know.
Right. I mean, starting off with him, his IQ for the game, his playmaking abilities has always been extremely high. And, that's what made him so special as a point guard is his ability to read defenses, his ability to make the right plays, find the right guys, get his teammates involved. And I feel like that's something that he does at a higher level than me for sure. It's something that I've been trying to work on my entire life is just to get to where he's at. And, his IQ is so high. The plays he makes are really high IQ plays as well. And his understanding for the game. And so obviously being able to have him as a brother and talk with him always, I've always been getting better in those areas that he's always been really good at. But I think something that I may be better at right now is just my defense for sure, being able to lock in the defensive end and get after it. But, he's been working on that part of his game over the last 5 years of him being in the NBA, and I definitely have seen the jumps that he makes or has made on the defensive end. And so obviously I can say right now I think I'm better defensively, but we'd have to see once that first game comes around.
And just you were talking about being in Minnesota, obviously when you were in high school, and Tyus and Ryan Saunders
right.
Worked together closely there. I'm wondering if you had any sort of relationship with Ryan back then, and just kind of how crazy it's been to watch where all three of you have kind of come over these 3 years.
Right, for sure. I think Ryan actually played against my oldest brother, JD. And so it's crazy because it's really full circle. He's played against my oldest brother, got to coach Tyus, and now I was actually in the team interview with him the other day. And so he's always been someone that's always super talkative with me, always super nice, and seems really genuine with me. So, I know what they're doing over there in Minnesota right now. They're heading in the right direction, I think, and the organization is getting on track to win games and try to get back in the playoffs again. And so I'm excited for them.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Hey, Trey's been great. We're going to give him two more. Alexander Berthaud again.
Yeah, Trey.
Yep.
Yeah. Trey, you haven't had many interviews, as it appears, as opposed to other prospects who interview with pretty much every team. Is it a choice from you? Why have you had so few interviews? And do you still feel you can get drafted in the first round?
Right. So, I mean, to answer your question about the interviews, I think my agent wants me to interview teams that he feels are really high on me right now. And obviously it's still early in the process, and there's some time left before the draft. And so interviews can continue to happen. But as of right now, he feels like some of these teams are really high on me. And so those are the teams that he has me do interviews with as of now. But to answer your second question, yeah, I'm still thinking, or what I'm hearing is mid first round, maybe late first round, but more mid.
And final question, Ferdinand Rivera again, ESPN Deportes.
Hey Trey, have you had made any contact with Memphis Grizzlies, and how will you fit with that group that is on the rise?
Right. I have not, as of now, interviewed with the Memphis Grizzlies. Obviously, that's the team that I watched the most basketball of this past year, and so I know that they're definitely on the rise. Like you said, they're a really young group, but they're super hungry and want to get after it, want to get in those playoffs. Right, they're right there this year. But I know that with their guard play there, I'll be able to fit in. Obviously, chemistry-wise, with my brother right away, being able to be on the same page with him. But I think just the way that they play really fast. They play where it's a lot of ball screen action up top, a lot of guards coming off the bigs making play, or you're playing off of closeouts from other guards attacking and passing to you, and you're attacking closeouts. And so obviously there's just being able to watch them this past year play, and I'll be able to have, like I said, the chemistry with my brother for sure, but being able to just talk the game with him always and have him just right by my side, being able to lean on him like always, but having it in person would just be a huge advantage. Lastly,
how will you fit with Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Yeah, being able to fit in with Giannis, obviously that is that's a crazy thing to even think about. Someone that, he's coming off of defensive player of the year and MVP, and so on the defensive end, like I've been saying this entire time, being able to lead a group, and I think learning from someone like him, there's not much. There's not really any other player you want to learn from, really, being able to lead a group on the defensive end and the defensive player of the year. And so being able to learn from him, being able to be like a sponge and just taking everything in, listening, learning from those older guys, but then on the offensive end, also being able to be someone where, you gotta build a wall to stop them, and being someone where I can be the outlet. I can be someone that is knocking down my shot, not someone that I get the ball and I'm playmaking for the rest of the team while my defender is worried about trying to stop him. And so just continue to play my game while I'm with them, being able to lock up on the defensive end and add there, but also being able to be facilitating on the offensive end and continue to show my consistency.